Hello all, and welcome to the annual update from New Hampshire DOT's CAD development group. This is an exciting time for us as we are finally getting into the implementation of MicroStation Connect and Open Roads Designer. As I'm sure most of you are already aware, Bentley is retiring its V8i line of products. For us, that was MicroStation, inroads, and MX, along with a couple others we use in-house. Once we got going into this transition, we also felt that it would be an opportune time to update some of our other libraries. Our cell and line style libraries in particular were considerably outdated. They've been in use for over 20 years now, and there are some newer features of the software that we would like to be able to take advantage of, particularly annotation scale. It's the ability to change the scale of the drawing on the fly, which has been in Bentley products for a number of years, but we have not been able to take advantage of because they were not built into our line styles and cells. The new workspace is presently available for both in-house use and for our consultant community. It's not presently available to download on the website, but if you contact us, we'll be happy to set you up with a copy. We're doing that primarily so we can keep track of who has copies of the workspace. Since some development work is still going on, we have a list of who to contact when updates are available. Early on in our development, there were some consultants who had contacted us offering to do a test drive of the new workspace to offer us some feedback on their ability to install it and use it and any improvements that we could make along the way. Of course, we were more than happy to take advantage of that opportunity to make it as good as we can for both our internal users and our external users. We have had 10 firms who have downloaded the workspace so far and are in varying stages of exploring it, implementing it at their own locations. The new workspace is intended to be easily implemented alongside others that the consultant firms need to use. We realize that you will likely be working for multiple DOTs and possibly other clients as well who have their own workspaces developed and would be expecting you to use those on their projects. So we tried to make it as easy as possible to switch between New Hampshire's workspace and others. The workspace we have available was developed for MicroStation Connect Release 15 and Open Roads Designer 2020 Release 3, being the latest versions of those two products that are available to us now. We are trying to stay on top of the latest versions as they're released because they're often fixing problems with earlier releases or providing new tools that we want to take advantage of. This is the opening screen of, in this case, Open Roads Designer, but the MicroStation Connect version looks almost exactly the same, where you can select the workspace, which is, as I mentioned, you could have multiple different ones, but this is ours with the New Hampshire DOT, which we'll only have the one. And I'm going to switch over to my live version of Open Roads Designer, just to make it a little bit more live. So that if I select the workspace, I will see our training files and the NHDOT. For those of you in the consultant community, you could have ones for other DOTs or, as I mentioned, other clients who might have their own workspaces developed. Once selecting the workspace, then you have what our Bentley is calling work sets, which we are, for us, is our different projects that we have set up within that particular workspace. So you could scroll through the list here, pick the project that you wanted to work on, and select the drawing from there. Now, one advancement over the older versions is that you'll notice on the left-hand side here, where they have the list of recently used work sets. This can come in real handy if you are working on multiple projects simultaneously, and you need to be able to just quickly toggle between one to the other to jump into one of those other projects to work on a drawing. And of course, with the recently used drawing list, there's also the browse and new file options if the file you are looking for is not here. So I'm going to select this geometry drawing to go into while I switch back to the PowerPoint for a slide. Once you get in, if for those of you who have not worked with these products yet, you'll notice that they have switched the old menus to a ribbon menu setup. As we found in most other products for the past few years, have been switching to this kind of an environment where you have the various tabs grouping the tools and the tools in the various ribbon setups. So the tools work exactly the same as they had in the past. Now is just a matter of getting familiar with the new interface and learning where they are and where to find them. If you find yourself having trouble doing that, there is also a search in the upper right-hand corner, which will allow you to start typing in the name of the command, and it will point you in the right direction to where to find that command. My drawing should be open now, so I can show that live as I'm in Open Rose Designer here. And you can see as I'm selecting the various tabs, you see all the different tools within each of those tabs. There are also a number of different workflows where even the ribbon menus are customized depending on the type of work you're doing. I presently have it set for the drawing workflow, but you could also be switching to the open roads modeling where you'd have more of the design tools available to you. From the drawing, if I switch back to the Home tab, you can see that the Connect software is heavily using element templates, whereas the element template basically sets the level and line style, color, and other attributes of a particular feature that you selected. One thing that we found, though, is if you look at this element template menu, we don't know of any way, or haven't found a way yet, to alphabetize the list, making it easier to find things. And even as I use this from day to day, I can find that these element templates might be in a different order, or the element template folders anyway, might be in a different order, making it even more challenging to keep up with things. Many of you who have worked in our V8i work sets, V8i workspace, have used our task menus, which were developed where you could select the feature that you wanted to draw, and it would set line style, color, level, etc. And either the place line or place cell command, depending on whichever was appropriate for the feature you're working on. Eric Milligan from my staff has reproduced all those task menus for the Connect Edition products so that they're available for your use as well. You'll notice right to the right of the workflow menu is this V8i mode, where you can switch it to dialogue. By default, it would have been at ribbon. And now I have to wait for that to finish. There we go. So you switch that to dialogue and the task menus will appear in the list here. In this case, the alignment task menu happened to pop up, but you can select the drop down and have access to any of the task menus you need. And they work just like in the older version. When you select a particular feature off this list, it will set the appropriate element template, which in turn will set line style, level, color, etc., and issue the place line or place cell command as appropriate. Within the home area here, we also see the list of line styles. You'll notice that the custom line style list now, the new line styles use essentially the same names as the old line styles, except they are preceded with an asterisk. That's how you can tell the new from the old. And the new line styles, as I mentioned before, are set up for annotation scale. So as you change the scale of the drawing, they will update and adapt to the new scale. The older line styles are still available because we realize that there will be legacy drawings for many years ahead that will still need to be accessed. However, I have to strongly encourage you that if you are going to be working on a project in the Connect versions, it is best to bring everything forward and set it up with all the new line styles. If you do attach an older drawing as a reference, you will find that even though the older line style libraries are still available, the line styles may not display properly depending on what scale the project is set at. So just keep that in mind. If let's see, I'm going to have to switch back to the drawing mode here. And if I go over to the annotate, so we can see the place text command, the NH engineering font, which we have been using since we started using MicroStation in 1999, it was developed in-house. We are retiring that now, attempting to be proactive in case Bentley drops support for custom developed fonts. And we have switched the bulk of our usage to this Engineering Vert TrueType font, which is included with the product. For now, the NH engineering font is still available because there are a number of bridge design bar bend symbols that were included as characters in that font, which we don't have any other way of accessing at this time. So you'll still need to pull those from that old font. There are also a number of text styles which have been developed for your use. And again, these were developed with the annotation scale in mind, so that as you change the scale of the drawing, the fonts will still display at the height that they're supposed to on plotted drawings. Within our cells, as I mentioned before, get you out of the way, the place active cell command will, let's see, oh, there it is. Within place active cell, if I go to select a cell library, you can see that the cell library names are essentially the same as they were before, except that they now have the letter CE embedded in the name for Connect Edition. So again, the cells look just like they did before, except that they've been altered to work with the annotation scale, and you can tell the new cell libraries from the old by the CE embedded in their names. Now I have this drawing open, so I can show you a couple other features. Although time isn't going to permit me to demonstrate too much, I do want to show a couple alignment features that we have developed. So I switched to the Open Roads modeling workflow, which gives me access to this geometry tab where I can work on an alignment. Before I start working on the alignment, I want to make sure I set the feature definition, which we can see here. The feature definition is already set for mainline alignment, so we're good to go there. So I can next move over to the complex by PI command to draft the alignment. Now, of course, in real life, you would want to set up a number of controls and parameters depending on how you, or what controls you need for your alignment, what criteria you need for placement and so on. But for demonstration purposes, we're just taking the quick and dirty approach, and we'll just plot some points. Now you can see that as I start working on this alignment on the cursor, there is an option to key in the radius of the next, that's going to be placed at the next PI. That you can type in a value on the fly if you have an idea of what value you might be wanting, or it's so easy to update later. You can just start dropping the points and then go back and edit as necessary to update it. So I'm just going to set some points down here to get myself an alignment to work with. Click the right mouse button as a reset to finish the command, and we have an alignment on our drawing. Now, one of the other things that we have developed is annotation for alignments. And if I switch over to the Drawing Production tab and click on Element Annotation, I'm prompted for the element to annotate. So I select my alignment again, reset to complete the command, and now my alignment has stationing. The PI location is noted here. The curve data is on there. Now note this radius of 1,500 feet, which I had placed in there. As I mentioned, these alignments are very easy to update now. Once I've selected the alignment, it's a little hard to see, but the PI point is now flexible. I can just drag it, click it, drag it to wherever I like. If I needed to adjust that alignment in some way. And if I were to change the curve radius, let's say I want something maybe a little flatter in here, I just click on, in this case, it's at the PC. I click on the radius value. From 1500, I can type in, let's say 2000, just for demonstration purposes. The alignment updates, and as you'll notice, the information within the curve data here has also updated to the new radius, the new PCPT stations. If I were to go back, and while I know we rarely have our alignments beginning at 0, if I wish to have my alignment start at a different station, I switch back to the Geometry tab. I click on Modify, where the Start Station command is. Once I start that command, I'm prompted again to locate the element. So I select the element. I'm prompted for the offset from the beginning of the alignment where the station I'm going to key in is located. In most cases, you would have that station would be at the beginning of the alignment, but you could, in reality, define a point anywhere along the alignment, specify the station of that point, and then Open Roads would calculate the stations forward and backward from there. In my example, I'm going to use the beginning, station value of 200 plus 00. That was the last one I used, and it's good for this example, or key in whatever station value is appropriate. So I click on that and I wait for it to update, and you will note that stationing on the alignment has updated, stationing within the curve data has updated. It's all ready to go. Now you probably noticed the green outline here of my detail. The detail was picked up by our survey, and a terrain model was created from the survey detail. So this green line represents the outline of that existing ground terrain or surface model. By having that and having that being active, I could quickly create a profile from this line. Again, within the Geometry tab, you have the vertical alignment commands. And if I were to select this Open Profile Model option, again, I am prompted to locate the plan element, which is our alignment, and prompted to select a view where I want my profile to be displayed. Well, I happen to have view 2 here. You could select any of the other 7 available views, and I'm choosing that. And there's my profile. Now, the reason that profile jumped in like that is because I had my terrain in the background. I had set my terrain as the active terrain. So it just went ahead and it ran the alignment I just created over that existing ground and created an existing ground profile. Now, unfortunately, I don't have time to demonstrate any more than this, but that gives you a little taste of what's available. We do have in-house pilot projects which are underway using the new workspace. We also have 4 pilot projects with consulting firms that are underway. Right now, we're have about as many as we'd want to manage at once going on as pilot projects. Eric from my staff has been doing most of the technical support for those, and I want to make sure he doesn't get too overwhelmed with the number of people calling him for help getting workspaces set up and learning the ins and outs of how to use them. If you would like to start using the Connect Edition products on a project, please contact your project manager. The CADD staff does not make the determination of which projects will stay in the V8i versions and which ones will move forward. That's up to the project manager, and then they will discuss it with us, and we will make an evaluation on a project by project basis. Eventually, once we are fully implemented, of course, all new projects will be using the Connect Edition software. We have developed macros to update V8i drawings to Connect Edition, which will essentially replace the line styles, replace the cells, replace the text, etc. and bring those forward, move elements to the newer levels. So those are available once a project is ready to move on to the Connect version. Then we can run these macros on or create new drawings from the new seed files, copy the detail in, run these macros to update everything, and it's ready to move forward. Once the DOT staff is fully trained, we'll start processing survey in Open Roads Designer. Our survey crews are ready to go already. It's just a matter of us letting them know when to begin providing ORD detail. And we'll also begin to start having user group meetings again. The benefit to everyone being remote at this time is that the user group meetings will also have to be done remotely, which means that we might be able to open them up to the consultant community as well. So for those of you who are interested, I will definitely keep everyone posted when we start doing user group meetings in case your staff is interested in participating as well. The CADD procedures and requirements document, which was last released in June of 2017, is presently being updated. I am hoping to have that completed, reviewed, and out sometime this summer. The biggest change to that, other than updating all the terminology, will be that we will be encouraging more the development and deliverables of 3D models for construction. Our construction contractors have become accustomed to using 3D models in their equipment for a number of years now, and we really do want to ensure that we're developing them for all of our projects, in-house and externally. So if you have any questions, feel free to contact me for general questions. For specific MicroStation and ORD technical support, contact Eric Milliken. And Jerry Gall has been most involved with the survey processing aspect. So I thank you for your time. I hope you found the information informative and helpful. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to contact me. Thank you for your time.